I am 37-year-old. I met my wife 12 years ago at a cafe in the city. I remember the day vividly. She was sitting at a table, drinking a cup of warm tea and reading a book, wearing this adorable little dress and a sweater. Right away, I thought she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. I was never really much of a ladies' man, so it took a little while for me to work up the nerve to talk to her. But when I did, we hit it off right away. We dated for 3 years, and we've been married for 9. She and I have gone through a lot together, but in the end, we've both always known that we had each other. After we got married, we wanted to try to have a baby and start our family. Now we have one beautiful daughter, and it really feels like we are the perfect happy family. Both she and I work full-time, and we have good jobs with good benefits and a solid security blanket. I knew she wanted to quit her job and stay home with her daughter full-time, but that wasn't practical for us unless we wanted to make a lot of major cutbacks in our lifestyle. After the pandemic, her job started this healthy lifestyle reward system. The idea was to get the employees who had been more sedentary when they were working from home back up and being active by rewarding them with gift cards and movie tickets, etc. My wife was actually pretty excited about it. She hadn't been quite stressed out and wanted to start taking a yoga or Pilates class, something like that, to try to de-stress while being active. It was the perfect time to do it, so she enrolled in a yoga class at the local studio. She started out by going once or twice a week just to get the hang of how it works. Every time she came back, she was exhausted, but she would tell me that she could already feel how she was less stressed out. As time went on, she was taking more classes at the studio twice a week turned into every other day, which turned into almost every day. She was enjoying herself, so I didn't really think much about it. She even told me about friends she made at the studio. It seemed like her social life was thriving, and she was happy and confident. Everything seemed fine. One day she came to me and told me that she was changing her class schedule to take something in the evening instead of in the morning. It worked out better for her, so I didn't think much of it at the time. Her morning classes usually lasted an hour, and she returned home about an hour and a half after leaving. The evening classes took a lot longer. I wasn't immediately suspicious that something was going on, but after a couple of weeks, I started to wonder. I pulled her aside one day and asked her why she was always coming home so late. She told me that the class was more intensive, so it lasted a bit longer. She explained that with this class, they begin with meditation, then go into more elaborate poses, and after class, she and a lot of the other students would hang around and chat for a bit. She was so sure about everything she was saying that I had no reason to doubt it. I never had a reason not to trust her before, so my worries were soothed. It wasn't long after that conversation that I was at work one day when I got a text message from my wife. Attached was a picture of her standing in front of our bedroom mirror naked. She and I had never really sent each other pictures like that, especially not while I was at work. It was something that I'd heard other couples had done to spice things up a bit. What really caught my eye in the entire message was the text attached. In the message, she said that she couldn't stop thinking about the night before. I was confused. We hadn't done anything the night before, and I didn't know what she was talking about. She replied back very quickly, telling me that she had sent a text by mistake and made a joke about how voice-to-text didn't capture what she said properly. She tried to clarify by saying she couldn't wait for tonight. I honestly didn't buy what she was saying. I thought right away that she had sent me the entire message by mistake and knew it was meant for someone else. I spent the rest of the day at work anxious and worried that something was wrong. When I got home, my wife was instantly telling me that she had a headache, felt dehydrated, and had been vomiting. I thought it was interesting timing. I had an old friend from high school who used to work as a cop, but they changed their career to work as a private investigator. I reached out to him and explained my situation, and he said that he'd be happy to help. I played it cool while he was looking into what was going on. I didn't want to raise any suspicion to give my wife the upper hand in continuing her lies. About a week after we started, we met for lunch at a restaurant in town where he showed me the evidence. I had been right to suspect that something was going on. I was honestly shocked to find out that it was with her yoga instructor. In hindsight, she only referred to the instructor as the instructor. She never used any pronouns like he or she. Maybe I was in the wrong, but I assumed it was a woman. On top of that, I had voiced my concerns to her about her late-night classes, and she lied to me with such ease. He showed me evidence in the form of pictures, videos, and messages he somehow got his hands on. I had a full collection of documents for their infidelity. Divorce was the only option for us. I would not be giving her a choice in the matter. We wouldn't be going to therapy, and we wouldn't even be having a discussion about it. I went back home trying to think of the best way to go about all of it. I was angry and beyond hurt by her. I wanted to get even for what happened. She had a Christmas party for work coming up, so I figured I could use that opportunity to embarrass her. After all, it was her work health benefits program that sparked all of this. I had everything ready to go to serve her with the divorce papers, so when we left later that day, I mentally prepared myself for what I was getting into. As with every work Christmas party, I went. My wife walked around the room and said hello to people, while I joined a few people that I was familiar with. After a few minutes, though, I went around the room and introduced myself as my wife's ex-husband. I enjoyed seeing the little wrinkle in their eyebrows when I introduced myself that way. I could tell that they were all curious about why I was there. One of her co-workers said that she had no idea we ended things. I got to tell her that my wife didn't either. She was very confused, but I watched her spread what I said to everyone else there. Everybody in the room was gossiping about my wife. They probably thought I was crazy too, but I didn't care. Toward the end of the evening, her boss got everyone's attention and made a toast. When she was done, I chimed in on the tail end and made my announcement. My wife stared at me with her jaw hanging on the ground when I told her about how I found out about her affair. Everyone else in the room was a little tipsy and very intrigued by what I was saying. They would be talking about that Christmas party for years. Honestly, I wouldn't blame my wife for quitting. I told her that it was over, gave her the papers, and drove home without her. As far as the instructor goes, I called the studio that he worked for, and they have a strict policy about employees being involved with clients. He was fired from the studio. My wife and I went through with the divorce because she cheated. Things were not favorable to her. We have joint custody of our daughter, and I got to keep the house. She's staying with her sister while she figures out where she's going to be living.